Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. Support is always appreciated but never expected, as there are never expected but always appreciated, as there are always expenses in making these shows. There are many ways to support the show. You can first of all share your experiences on the website. There is a page. There's a link at the very top in the row of links up there that says share experience. You can also sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and some other items there with designs on them made by friends of the show. Please also follow friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show on Saturdays when she's able to make it. And Ricky of the Anything Is Possible podcast, who of course has his own show, but also on Sundays does a paranormal themed, and sometimes other days, but usually just Sundays. Excuse me. Does a paranormal themed show just on all things paranormal, and I sit in with him on that one. And also, please follow Michael Strange and Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network. And you also can hear me on his show quite a bit as well. And that network is KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And I think that takes care of everything. So thank you all for listening in whenever you're able and however you're able to do so. And let me get started on these true stories here. So this first one says, I have this gorgeous music box from my grandparents' house. I keep it on a shelf with a photo of my deceased granddad and a few things he and my granny gave me when they were well. She is alive but has Alzheimer's, and I feel like I have lost her too, as she is just not herself anymore. My brothers, cousins, and I loved winding up the music box when we were kids. It was one of the staples of their home. Now that it's in my possession, I wind it up every once in a while, but I always let all the tension release before closing the box. So I find it unlikely that it would be storing tension that it needed to release. I was already having a hard time sleeping tonight, having bad dreams. I kept waking up and going back to sleep until I just woke up to the unmistakable sounds of the music box playing loudly. I have never heard it play on its own without being touched before. My phone said it was 5 a.m. on the dot. I have a hard time waking up, ever, and never get out of bed before 9 a.m., especially on weekends. But I immediately shot up and checked the box to find it was closed, and I feel so alert I don't even know if I will get back to sleep. A web search for similar experiences only brought me here, to this forum. I do think it was my sweet granddad, if I can talk, saying hello, maybe trying to make me feel better from my bad dreams, which I very rarely have, or help me wake up for an earlier rehearsal I have today. I've been thinking of him a lot lately, as the anniversary of his passing and his birthday in the same week are coming up soon. I don't get visits from him often. I think he spends a lot of time with my granny, trying to comfort her a lot of the time. I miss them, and that's where that one ends. What's fascinating to me about that is that the music box was closed. So this person heard the sound of the box playing, and they said loudly. It makes me wonder if it wasn't physically playing, if the granddad or possibly someone else, hopefully the granddad, was just playing that sound for this person, whether it was through some kind of actual sound or some kind of telepathy um, connection to the mind. I wonder if that's the case, especially since, like I said, like they said, the music box was never opened. I have heard and read accounts on this show before, here and there. I think I've found like three, at least three over the years, maybe more than that now. Accounts of people um, who have heard music boxes in their surroundings playing and found them turned on or found them still going. But then I've also found other accounts similar to this where the box is still closed. It doesn't seem to be playing anymore by the time they get to it. So there is something to do with this whole music box thing. It's a sort of a I don't know if it's really a trope because it's not like I get tons of these accounts, but I have found a few, maybe half a dozen so far total, I guess now, including this one. So that's a fascinating one, and it does often connect to a deceased relative who had that music box before. I wonder if it's because it's a mechanical device that maybe is easier to, at least for some people to, or for some souls or spirits to manipulate, if that's why it's such a common thing, or if it's more of the, I guess it could be both. It could be that and the emotional memory significance there as well. Could probably feed into each other there as well. So, always fascinating when I find similar accounts like this that are not uh, they're not the majority of what I find, but they're still every so often I find something similar, and that is always I think to me it's a good thing because it just shows people are not alone in their experiences. They may be only a handful of people overall, but they may not be because we never really know how many people don't share their experiences um, at all. Moving on to the next one here. This one says, this happened 3 years ago, around December. I was visiting my sister and her family in Maine during the Christmas season, and one day we drove to Santa's Village in Jefferson, New Hampshire. That night, we stayed at my brother-in-law's family cabin, which was in a very wooded, remote area. Pretty sure it was near the White Mountains or Appalachian region. When it was time for bed, my brother-in-law and I slept on the couches upstairs. He was snoring extremely loudly for a long time, and eventually I gave up trying to sleep and went downstairs to use one of the empty bedrooms. As soon as I went downstairs, I had a really uneasy, eerie feeling. The bedroom itself felt off, but I brushed it aside because I was exhausted and just wanted to sleep. When I laid down and closed my eyes, I felt this overwhelming sense that something was in the room with me, like I was being watched. I don't remember seeing anything, but the feeling was intense and immediate. I also recall hearing what sounded like footsteps or movement somewhere in the cabin. The next morning, I asked my sister and brother in law if either of them had been walking around during the night. They both said no. Honestly, even now as I'm writing this, I'm getting freaked out just remembering it. I've always wondered what that was. Could it have been anxiety? Something sleep related? Or my mind playing tricks on me? Because it was a creepy cabin in the woods? Or does anyone think the location, Appalachian or White Mountains area, could have had something to do with it? Curious if anyone has had similar experiences or has a rational explanation. And that's where that one ends. The rational explanations could be what they said. Could be due to being exhausted, I guess. Mind playing tricks on you. I do wonder, though, if it would also cause that sense of there being someone there with you. Um, I also wonder if this cabin had any power, electricity. If the wires are not shielded right, if things aren't shielded right or um, installed right, that can give off electromagnetic fields, energy basically. And if that's too strong and or a person is too sensitive, they can do one of two things. It can either create the illusion of paranormal activity, the sensations of it, or uh, it can also cause or make it easier, give more energy for um, other entities, soul spirits, uh, to manifest, to do things. So it's really tricky to know what's going on there. And especially if this was a one-time thing, I do wonder, and as always with these situations here, did this person sort of startle someone else that they couldn't see into being aware of them and wondering what they're doing in what this person was doing in their room? Whoever this was that they couldn't see. I always wonder about that situation with if there's souls or spirits, or if it's a weird time anomaly of some kind where um, they're able to sense each other and they both feel like they're invading each other's space or the space they're trying to use. But so yeah, a lot of possibilities there as usual. And so yeah, I'd be curious about the history of the land and everything. I do wonder, getting back to the end of that post, they ask if the area itself could be could explain things. Appalachia is uh, that's well known. That whole Appalachian Mountains area throughout the U.S. is known for having high strangeness, paranormal things around them. I'm just thinking here. Did a whole series of shows with Jen, the Arcane Observer, back before she was the co-host of this show, on mountains, paranormal events and mountains in the U.S. here, and that was a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure we covered that as well. Um, so it's yeah, it could be the location, but it's always hard to tell. Moving on to the next one here. This one is a short one. As I don't know if I'm crazy, but my door latch lifted up on its own. This has never happened in the 18 years I've lived here. It was almost like someone unlatched it, but no one was there. We played with the door to see if it was something with the latch or door, but nothing moved. So that's the end of that one. Uh, that is fascinating. I do wonder. I don't know, about vibrations, about where this is at. If it's I don't know, if it's some kind of vibration from below. I doesn't seem like it would be possible for a vibration to just randomly lift the latch on the door, unless it's a really, I guess, really light latch. But I'm not sure with that one. It's one thing when there is no latch or door knob, well, lock or whatever, and the door opens or closes. That can be caused by vibrations, by air movement, pressure changes, all these things. But a latch is something else. I would think. I'm not also not uh, extremely familiar with how those work in terms of what can cause them to move without someone actually doing that themselves. But and if it was just a one-time thing, then I don't know. It's as usual. It's hard to say with these things. Moving on to the next one here. This one says, I feel like I've shifted universes and haven't told anyone about it. It's been almost a month. So, my group of friends and I, all of us in our early 20s, went to the Himalayas in December of 2025. And I apologize if I said that wrong. For a trip to see the snow and experience the scenic view. Why would anyone want to see snow? I'm kidding. Sorry. Can't help it. Uh, Not a winter fan here. Everything was going well. We stayed in a city and then went further north to a town and village which was just filled with hotels. We arrived at around 9 p.m. and there was no electricity, but we used our flashlights to carry our stuff to the top floor and freshen ourselves in the bathroom by taking baths. It was at this moment when my friend was taking a bath and I decided to, or tried to scare and tease him by knocking on a foggy window pane that was connected between the bedroom and the bathroom. I vividly remember him taking a bath using his flashlight, and remember seeing his silhouette through the pane. The next morning I woke up early, and my friend, three of us in the room, also woke up. Friends, I guess I mean. Oh wait, no, it says friend. Okay. It was at this moment that I saw that there was no window. I expressed my worry and explained to them, so yeah, be friends, how there was a window here just last night. But they said I was just overthinking, and there wasn't any window. They also said there was electricity last night, but I vividly remember there being a window pane and there being no electricity, and my friend taking a bath using his phone's torchlight. I also got this eerie feeling from this hotel being super large with dark hallways and also it being filled with people, but feeling no presence of humans. And that's where that one ends. That is fascinating. Uh, I do wonder about can people accidentally shift between universes or dimensions or something? Um, or was it the building that shifted? But then there's also the memory that the other friends have of there being power that the writer of this post does not have. So there's a lot there, and I don't know what that is. It reminds me, it's a different situation. It's a more mundane situation or version of a couple of posts I've shared in the show before over the years when I found them. People that were involved in terrible vehicle accidents and crashes, and when they recovered, well, first of all, they were told by authorities, we don't know how you survived that. How did you survive that? But second, when they would go to be with family again and to meet family, the family members would look different to them, their eye color and hair color. And the families would say that the person that had the accident that nearly died, or possibly if they did transfer that maybe did die, I don't know. They seem different than what the family remembers. So, and I've talked about this before here and there. I've had what I thought was dreams at first, but now I don't think they were dreams. Um, Basically, traveling to alternate reality versions of places where I used to live and being with family there. And sometimes I recognize them, and they were somewhat like the people that are here, that are my relatives, my parents even. And other times there are people in those houses that I didn't recognize, and yet I got a feeling like they were still family. Like different family members existed in these other places. So I don't ever write any of this off anymore because of my own experiences and finding posts like this. Now, this is the first one I found where the transition was during a not during a horribly traumatic event and life-threatening event. But what's also fascinating is that the transitions seem to happen um, during the time when this person was asleep. Everything was one way before they went to sleep, and then things were different once they woke up. So, a lot of questions here with this. I have no idea what any of that is. Uh, we're almost out of time here, so I won't read any more for this show. Just to say that I've had several of these experiences now, and they feel real. And in one case, I wound up in a place that I used to live in, and apparently, when I arrived there, somehow I made noise because I heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and this little boy came down the stairs who looked like my mom and her former husband. Uh, like he was their son, but they never had a son. And then my mom came down the stairs and she saw me and she seemed to recognize me, but she was also saying, "It's okay, everything is okay." Like whatever happened had happened before, except I didn't remember it. But she seemed to recognize that I wasn't really supposed to be there, and I could tell she was not exactly my mom. Uh, and I've had other cases of being appearing in that house and trying to get back here and trying to go to sleep there. And this other time this happened when I tried to go to sleep, and it took me like 3 times trying to get to sleep before it worked, and I was back here. So I could be wrong about what all that is. It's just what I'm thinking and what I describe, and my thoughts on this are as well as I can the as well as I can think of this. If I could talk, the alternate parallel universes seem to be the thing that explain all of this the best to me. But again, I could be wrong. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.